सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. I welcome you all with my love and respects. I welcome all of you who are sitting with us at this moment around the world in 519 locations in 174 cities, 24 countries. I am able to see all these cities, 7 cities on two-way: Seattle, San Jose, LA, Ohio, Phoenix, Hyderabad, Mexico. Mexico, I am able to see you all. So, of course, Vancouver, I am able to see. Yesterday, in San Jose, the Paschima Madura, Vibhuti did come out of Padukas exactly at 6 p.m. He was given the information. San Jose received Vibhuti and the new golden Padukas that Bhakta Swami started the puja yesterday for. It came at 6 p.m. yesterday. Is there photographs? San Jose sent the photographs. Okay. So now you will see the Leelas of Madurai Thiruvalayadalgal. In San Jose, yesterday I was sitting and listing out all the temples and deities we will be creating. In Houston, we will create Kalahasti, representation of Kalahasti energy. And in New York, we will create Varanasi, Kashi. As Varanasi stands as a symbol of the Eastern culture, the lifestyle of Eastern culture, city represents Eastern way of life. New York stands as a city represents Western way of life. So we will have Varanasi in New York. We will create all 12 Jyotirlinga Kshetras and 54 Shakti Peethas in US. I have decided within 12-12-12, before the 12-12-12, there will be at least 108 temples outside India, our temples. Jnanapeetham temples, at least 108. We will enter into the satsang. Today's subject, your mind as the past and the future. This 126th sutra of Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, in the 3rd chapter, 20th verse. Nacha tat salambanam tasya avishayi bhutatvat. Swami Vivekananda translates this sutra as but not its contents, that not being the object of the samyama. Swami Prabhavananda translates as, but not of its contents, because that is not the object of the samyama. Swami Sachidananda translates as, but this does not include the support in the person's mind, such as the motive behind the thought, as that is not the object of samyama. And Bhagavan Osho translates as, through samyama the image occupying another's mind can be known. Nachatat salambanam tasya vishayi bhutatvat. Patanjali, the scientist extraordinaire, goes on describing various samyamas, not only for you to experience those powers, to remind you the signboards which happen on the way, on the process, when you experience, when you go through, when you go in, you experience many signboards. Those signboards can be an encouraging paths, points, or can be an obstruction if you are standing stuck with it. Please understand, it can be an encouraging signboard. For example, you sit in Bangalore station in train to go to Delhi, continuously seeing various stations which are supposed to come before Delhi, and the board, way to Delhi, or this many kilometers to Delhi. These boards can do two jobs. The scenes can do two jobs. One, it can be encouraging you. You are on the track. You will reach Delhi. You will reach the goal. Or, sometime, people who are stuck in ignorance and foolishness, it can be diversion. They may think they reached Delhi and get down. Please understand, Patanjali has an amazing respect for the life of a seeker. If you are stuck in a wrong company, not only the friendship I'm saying a company where you work. If you are stuck in a wrong company and unable to grow further in your life is being sucked by the owner of the company. You are wasting your life with him. Same way, if you are stuck with the wrong guru, you are wasting your life and your life is being sucked by him. Understand? Getting stuck with the wrong guru is the worst thing can happen to human being. Patanjali, the scientist extraordinaire, is making sure you don't get stuck with the wrong guru or wrong system, wrong philosophy. You go on marching, progressing, not being stuck, not being stagnant. I can say the extraordinary compassion of Patanjali is expressed in this one sutra, where he describes very beautifully the various process happening through the tapas, through the sadhana, through the samyama, through the samadhi. being stuck with the wrong system, not only waste of time, waste of life, which is too costly, especially, see, for example, a man who is completely uneducated, useless. If his life is wasted, world doesn't lose much. At the most, what he would have contributed, even if he has contributed, he would have built 1 or 2 houses, made 1 or 2 kids, load on the planet Earth, that's all. Nothing much. But a man in whom the Pratyagatma Chaitanya Jagrata has happened, in whom the conscious awakening has happened, in whom the inner awakening has happened, his life is too valuable, too costly to be wasted. I tell you, don't waste it in depression. Don't waste it in being unproductive. Don't waste it in stuck with some useless, idiotic, third-rate, depressing ideas. No. That is not life. It is too costly mistake when you waste life without being creative, unproductive, especially after inner awakening. It's waste. Patanjali is trying to avoid that wastage through the sutra. How to find out whether I am with the right guru or wrong guru? A right guru will go on pushing you continuously to move forward. Will never give you the feeling you are done. I tell you, the real peace is the explosion of the mind which asks for peace into peace. The real peace is the explosion of the mind which asks for peace into peace. Now that is where the real peace happens. Understand? What you think as real peace is the tamasic tiredness, chronic fatigue. That is why when life comes in front of you, you just jump into some cave. Wanted to have a cozy cave. No. Even your cave is inside my Himalayas. Understand? Even if you catch a cave, you do not understand, I am the walls of the cave. A real master will go on be pushing you. As I said, the samadhi happens to a person whose non-mechanical parts of the brain is alive, awakened. The mind which asks you for vacation, for rest, for peace, for tiredness, has to be blown away. It should explode to peace. Only then peace happens. A real master will go on be pushing you, will not encourage that fatigue, tiredness. He will never run a resort. He will run only a commune. Maybe after his death, his disciples will change the name into resort. He himself will never run a resort. Person who asks for the peace of the resort out of fatigue, tiredness, wanted rest, will never be allowed in the presence of a living master. The mind which asks once in a while, I think I need rest. I think I need a break. Yes, you need. Not from the situation. You need break in the root. You need to be broken. The mind which asks for the break need to be broken. That is the break it needs. A real master is a person goes on pushing you. Ability to receive the suffering as prasadam, poison as nectar. What you think as poison, not the real poison. What you think as poison, the ability to receive what you think as poison and stand with it is what I call tapas. A real master will never let you rest in what you call as peace. What you call as peace is more tamas based, dullness based, depression based, dumbness based. That philosophy can be called as donkeyism. No, thousands of people follow that philosophy. Don't think it's normal. Actually, if you study well, people who follow that philosophy is more than the people who follow any other philosophy. The problem with the donkeyism is, it is so beautifully labeled and wrapped. You think you are following some other ism, but you are following the donkeyism. The real master will go on be reminding you. Please understand, I am all for the extraordinary experiences and powers you go through during the samyama process. But I wanted to remind you continuously, don't stop there. Don't get down there. Don't create self-sympathy. Oh, I have done this much for my background. You will have your own mind drama. See, I am such an ordinary guy. I struggled so much and achieved the level where I can have one or two siddhis. It's too much. Enough. This self-sympathy creates tremendous fatigue, tiredness, idea of almost you are full. No. Fulfillment happens in a space where there is no mind to feel fulfillment. Peace happens in a space where there is no mind to feel the peace. I tell you, a basic rule, law for the enlightenment, it is continuous expansion. Continuous expansion. And I want all of you to know, Patanjali or any Vedic tradition does not speak about enlightenment. Then what are we doing? It is Buddha's contribution. Enlightenment idea itself is the contribution of Buddha. I want you to be very clear. In Vedic tradition, we don't have goal of enlightenment. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. That's all. Listening, internalizing, expressing. That's all. Means what? The expression goes on and on and on and on. There is no space where the board says you have arrived. No. It goes on and on and on. The mind which always wants, expects the board you have arrived, where it disappears, explodes, that spot can be called as enlightenment. That is what Buddha defines as enlightenment. Enlightenment is not destination, it is part of destiny. It is not destination, it is part of destiny. Please understand, part of destiny, not end of destiny. It is a continuous expansion. When I say continuous expansion, one corner of your mind says, then will I never have a rest? Will I never be able to lie down? Yes, you will be. Where the spot where this mind which has in one corner the rest, when that explodes, when that is beaten, the childishness which you carry in you should be broken. The first childish biomemory, which always expects mother's lap, which expects a cozy zone, which expects, can't all this process be done without this glaring, daring light on my face in a very loving way? No. No. Sunlight has to fall on your face without any window, screen or sunshade. Only then you will wake up. It cannot be done if the sun ray comes through a window, through a sunshade, through a screen, and mildly saying, "Oh my son, please wake up. It is 10:30 in the morning." Bhubalam does not work. If you are a Vishnu in Yoga Sayana, Yoga Nidra, Bhubala may work. But you are tamas, soaked in tamas. No Bhubala can work. Even earthquake is not working. Where is the question of Bhubala? The mind which asks for the peace should explode and disappear, should become peace, which can never be assembled again at all. I have seen in the young age, the kids out of curiosity will pick up some alarm timepiece, these, that, try to dismantle and assemble. When they take it, it will be a perfect timepiece running. When they finish, it will be in a carry bag. There are some intelligent kids I have seen, they will make things so many ways, the piece, it can never be assembled again. They only know how to dismantle it. After that, they know they can't assemble it. A very safe game they will play. They will throw everything all around and start crying. Why? Now, naturally, mother will not beat them. They will come and say, "Oh, I tried to assemble and I am not able to assemble, everything is over." So you will have a sympathy wave. A real guru will never show you that sympathy. Your mind learns this habit that if you impose suffering on yourself, the world will give sympathy. It is one of the most collective delusion human beings suffer from the beginning. That is why when kids don't want to go to school, Monday morning, They'll pull the blanket. I'm having stomach pain, headache. The stomach pain and headache, nobody can diagnose. And hand pain also. Nobody can diagnose. It's very easy. When you create suffering on yourself, world gives you attention, is one of the worst delusion that makes you constantly feel asking for peace, asking for settlement, asking for moving away from life constantly, again and again and again in your life. Breaking that setup which asks for the retirement from life, that spot is enlightenment. Understand? Suddenly if you remember, oh God, for last 8 years, I never thought about resting or backing off from what I am doing or the way I am moving. It means 8 years before you became enlightened. That's it. Be very clear, the mind which asks for the rest, mind which remains about the fatigue, mind which talks about tiredness will disappear. In Vedic tradition, the fear of backing out because the seekers may back out, that fear was the reason why the concept of enlightenment was never dealt or discussed in elaborate way. I want all of you to know, throughout the Upanishad, all the 108 Upanishads, nowhere you will find enlightenment is being discussed elaborately. No. The whole Brahma Sutra, people may be shocked and surprised. Vedic tradition, no enlightenment. That's the truth. Because the concept of enlightenment is totally different in Vedic tradition. In Vedic tradition, there is no enlightenment, enlightening. There is no enlightenment, enlightening. There is only enlightening. Go on and on and on. At one point, a complete disconnection of where you started happens. The personality with which you started explodes to pieces in a non-assemblable way. It cannot be assembled anymore. Dismantled once for all, permanently. The young age, I have seen when the kids play. If one child dismantles, it may be assemblable by a professional. There are some kids, if they dismantle, nobody can assemble it. Same way, the mind should be dismantled to the level that it should never be assemblable even by the worst ignorance. Even by the worst Maya, it should be non-assemblable. Then you reach the point of enlightenment. The point where you experience enlightenment is a non-return zone, that's all. That does not mean you reached the destination, no. You crossed the non-return zone, over. When I say many of my disciples have achieved enlightenment, they crossed that non-return zone. That's it. There is no goal. Understand? No goal is achieved. The non-return zone is crossed. When the levitation happens, when the siddhi is expressed, a non-return zone is crossed. Let me read the sutra once more. Nachatat salampanam tasya avishayi bhutatvat. Very beautiful sutra. It should be again read with the last sutra. Two things you need to understand from this sutra. First sacred secret. The first sacred secret is, by studying the Anga Lakshanas, doing samyama on it, finding out the mental structure of the other person, you will not know the karana, the source or reason why he created that structure. So, you will not be able to go beyond certain limit. Maybe it is good to create good relationships in your life. That's it. Not more than that. Not more than that. Maybe you will understand in your life also why you created this mental setup. But sometimes, just the why alone does not liberate you. Why liberates you to certain level. When you add, if not, the why becomes wife. The liberation is not that easy. Why alone does not liberate, especially when if is added. Let me give you the example. Just by knowing why the ignorance is, if it disappears, you are free, great. But the mind sometimes raises the question, why did I create this ignorance? If I am not able to cross, what will I do? No. The moment if comes, the why loses its power. Why loses its power the moment if comes. First thing you need to understand, the samyama on the Anga Lakshanas, in tradition what we call Samudriga Lakshana, on the structure of a person, and understanding the structure of the mind can help you only to a certain limit. Second, you need to find out, understand, knowing the other person's mind, contents of the other person's mind, happens in you as siddhi when you become more silent. Somebody asked me, Swamiji, how to find out what others are thinking? I told him, fool, first find out what you are thinking. You don't even know what you are thinking. Why are you running behind to know what others are thinking? Most of us know. All of us. We don't even know what we are thinking, but we are too interested to know what others are thinking. Actually, if you settle down and know what you are thinking, you will know what others are thinking. Unfortunately, many times, you don't even know what you are thinking, Just the actions are happening. See, there are 3 levels. In some level, whatever practice you do, that brings punya. If you don't do, it's okay. In different level, whatever practice you do, if you break it, you are standing there. After 5 years, if you start, you will start from the same step. But there are some practices. If you break, then again you have to start from zero. There are some practices. If you break, you lose the confidence, you can start again from zero, even from zero. See, there are 4 levels of practice. One level, whatever you do, benefit, 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 benefit. That's all. There are another level, if you go on be doing benefit, 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 if you stop or break, no problem. If you start again, you will start from the same spot. That's the second level practice. There are third level, if you stop, it's like abortion. You get back to zero if you break it. In the fourth level, not only you get back to zero, the confidence to start again is gone. Master takes you to the different levels of sadhana. First he gives you the sadhana. If you do it, great, good. If you don't, it's okay, no problem. Nitya Dhyanandal is that kind of practice. The next level, if you do it, great, 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 great. If you stop or break it, no problem, you will be standing there. You can start again when you start after 5 years. These are certain practices. But there are certain practices, when you start and break, you just get back to zero. Now, when a disciple does this kind of mistake, the fourth level practices, which can straight away take you in a high speed, but if you stop or break, you will not only get back to zero, the confidence to do the practice will go away. That fourth line, instructions can never be given. See, these are different lines. Each one has their benefit, and the first line has benefit. Never you will have anything wrong. But very slow, 12 years. By pulling the bullock cart, you have to reach the moon. When will you reach? The second level, not much risk. Same way, dragging. The third level, high speed. But you need to be a committed. Means full-time seekers. The practices given to the full-time seekers, when they are broken, they go back to zero. That is the reason this kind of practices are not given for the ordinary people who come just for the instruction. When you want to be a seeker, when you want to be an enlightened being, or when you want to be a extraordinary spiritual energy, the responsibility you assume. Patanjali, he says very clearly, when these experiences are added, even then you do not know the karana, hiranyagarbha, from which the whole thing comes out, from which the whole thing settles down. So two sacred secrets you need to understand from this sutra. One, knowing what is happening in others' mind is not enough to solve the whole problem. Second, this kind of siddhis can be encouraging or impediments based on your reactions to it. When they happen, be aware. Let them be just encouragement for you, not an impediment saying you have arrived. There is no you have arrived board in the inner journey. There is only non-return zone boards. There is no you have arrived. So go on, go on, go on. Know clearly only the point where you can't remember the person who started, where you can't look back, you are enlightened. You are expected to reach a point where you can't remember the person who started. You can't remember the person who has started. That is what? Is the spot, space of enlightenment. That is the space of Jivan Mukti. I received many homeworks from yesterday. One very funny homework is, Sir, Swamiji, I don't even feel close to one person in my life. How will I be able to study 14 persons? Please understand, at least study the 14 people you know on the planet Earth. Surely you cannot be living in the planet Earth without knowing 14 people. At least that 14 study. This homework will really help you. Now in this sutra, Patanjali reminds you about the siddhis. It can be encouraging or impediment. A signboard can be encouraging, or sometime thinking that place has arrived, if you get down from the place where the signboard is, it can be impediment. Pending. Please understand. Siddhis are signboards. It can be encouraging or impediments. It's how you take it, how you respond to it, how you live it. You can use the sign for progress or false witness. There's a beautiful story happened in Arunachala that Shiva appears as a Deepastamba, a Jyotistamba, Swayam Prakasa, Jyotistamba, a self-effulging light shaft. And the Brahma and Vishnu seeks the head and feet. Brahma goes up, Vishnu goes down. Brahma sees a flower on the way. This guy should have used that as a mark which encourages him to further his journey. That flower is like a siddhi. He should know, wow, Siddhi is coming. It means I am on the right track. I should further travel to reach Shiva. But this Brahma used that flower as a false witness to prove to Shiva that he reached. To whom he is proving what? From the time of Brahma, I am seeing this drama. Come on, give me a break. Do some new drama. It is like kids will do the same way of cheating to their parents. Parents know exactly where this fellow will steal the things and where he will hide. I have seen in my village, the kids will escape from the school and go and hide in the temple. But the school watchmen, they know where the kids will be hiding. They will directly go and pick up the kids from that place and take them to school. Are you are a child, you don't even know how to cheat. Just like Brahma did not have the intelligence, the flower which is coming for his false witness itself is from Shiva's head. And Shiva knows where he kept. Let the mind know, no false witness can lead to enlightenment. The problem with Brahma, you see, Brahma means knowing or thinking that everything is word. How a wealthy guy tries to show that he has achieved fulfillment in the life. The intellectuals will find some flower as a false witness. No. It doesn't work. It doesn't stand. It doesn't lead anywhere. So understand, the life is for living. When you understand there is no enlightenment, you will achieve enlightenment. When you understand there is no, you have arrived bored in the inner journey. There is only non-return zone. There can be only boards saying you are entering into a zone where you can't return anymore. That's it. So, understand this truth and live it. This is the sacred secret you need to imbibe from this sutra. Tomorrow, be here for the unique gift to receive one of the greatest gift, Yen meditation, Yen Dhyan. Tomorrow, Shivaratri day, you will all have initiation into Yen meditation, NM. The day consciousness exploded and created Big Bang, which is beyond the wealth and knowledge, is Shivaratri. Tomorrow we will be celebrating the Shivaratri here. So I request all the satsangis to gather all your friends and family and whoever you can. Let us have a great Shivaratri, the intense auspicious experience and the initiation into Yen meditation. I bless all of you who are sitting with us at this moment in 705 locations, in 250 cities, in 29 countries. let you all achieve, live, experience, express, radiate, and share the eternal bliss. Nityananda. Thank you.
All that I taste, all that I smell.